Hi all! Let's take a look at solving formulas and equations for the specified variable. Here we have a equals to a half b times h. This is area of a triangle formula. Now we are told that we have to solve for b. We are not given any numbers to substitute and simplify. So we have to work by the rules of solving equations. To solve for b means we need to have b by itself on one side of the equal sign and everything else on the other side. B is being multiplied by a half and h, and the first thing I want to get rid of is this denominator of 2. And by now I hope you know that if it's an equation we can multiply both sides by the same number, and the most useful number is times 2. Whatever we do to one side, we have to do the same thing to the other side, so times 2. 2 and 2 will cancel, so we have 2a equals to base times height. Now we are still solving for b. It's being multiplied by h. The opposite of multiplying by h is to divide by h. Whatever you do to one side, you have to do the same thing to the other side. Divide by h. So h and h will cancel, and we have 2a out of h equals to b. Once you have b by itself, that's your solution. Solve for w. Here we have p equals to 2l plus 2w. So we have to solve for this w. The very first thing I'm going to undo is this sum. We are adding 2l, that's a positive 2l. The opposite of positive 2l is negative 2l. Whatever I do to one side of the equal sign, I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. So we get p minus 2l equals to, that's a 0, 2w. Now w is multiplied by 2. The opposite of multiplying by 2 is to divide by 2. Whatever you do to one side, you want to do the same thing to the other side out of 2. And we get p minus 2l out of 2 equals to, this cancels, w. Once you have w by itself, that will be your solution. Now I just want to show you something. If you have p minus 2l equals to 2w, that's the same step as over here. I am still solving for this w, and I still need to undo multiplication by dividing by 2. But instead of dividing both sides, I am going to divide all terms by 2, which you can do. That will produce p out of 2 minus 2 and 2 will cancel, l equals to 2 and 2 cancels, w. This is also a solution, it just looks a little differently. These two solutions are equivalent, and depending on your answer key, you might see one or the other. If you try to combine fractions on this side, l is out of 1, you would need to multiply by 2, and you will end up having p minus 2l out of 2, which would be the same answer as over there. So these two are equivalent, they just look differently. Here we have to solve for y. So right now we are practicing solving for y, which comes up a lot when you do graphing. So we have 3x plus y equals to 12. We are solving for y and we want to undo the sum. And this is positive 3x. The opposite would be to minus 3x. Whatever you do to one side, you want to do the same thing to the other side. Minus 3x. So now you have, that's a 0, y equals to 12 minus 3x. And this is our solution. Sometimes answers are in slope-intercept form when you have x's first and numbers second. So if you have y equals to 12 minus 3x, this is a perfectly fine solution, but this is a positive 12, y equals to, sometimes the terms are in different order, so you can have minus 3x plus 12. Just like negative 2 plus 3 is the same as 3 minus 2. Both of them add up to 1. Here we have 16x plus 7y equals to 13. So we want to undo the sum. This is positive 16. The opposite of adding 16 would be to minus 16x. What you do to one side, you have to do the same thing to the other side, minus 16x. So now we have, that's a 0, 7y equals to 13 minus 16x. Y is being multiplied by 7. The opposite is to divide by 7. What you do to one side of equal sign, you need to do the same thing to the other side. So out of 7, 7 divided by 7 is 1. Y equals to 13 minus 16x out of 7. And this is our solution. Here we have to solve for y. Once again, we have x equals to 6y plus 7. So let's undo the sum. The opposite of adding 7 is minus 7. Same thing to the other side, minus 7. Now we have x minus 7 equals to 6y. Y is being multiplied by 6. The opposite is to divide by 6. What you do to one side, same thing to the other side. So we have x minus 7 out of 6 equals to 1y. And this is our solution. So for y, once again, we have negative 2x plus 8y equals to 0. Let's undo the sum. So the opposite of negative 2x would be to add 2x. What you do to one side, you want to do the same thing to the other side. So plus 2x, that's a 0. So we have 8y equals to 0 plus 2x. We just get 2x. Y is being multiplied by 8. The opposite is to divide by 8. What do you do to one side? You want to do the same thing to the other side. 8 out of 8 is 1. Y equals 2. 2 and 8 can be reduced by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 8 divided by 2 is 4x. And this is our solution. Or you could have y equals to 1 out of 4x. X is out of 1, so we have y equals to 1 times x. X out of 4 times 1, 4. And this would be a different look of the same solution. That's all.